Hello friends, let us discuss the important news for 4th of April 2020. So first starting with the coronavirus disease news which we have been doing for the last many days. So because of the Tablighi spread that has been witnessed in the Tablighi Jamaat congregation in the Nizamuddin area of the national capital, the cases have been hiked above to 2,500 in the in India. So, in the last 24 hours, more than 400 cases have been registered, out of which more than 240 cases were only from that particular hotspot. So, till now, out of the 2,500 cases that have been recorded in India, 647 cases can be directly traced to the Tablighi Jamaat. So, FIRs have been registered against the organizers of the event, and also intelligence failure has been noticed on the part of the government, and that also needs to be addressed. The IIT and IIM classes of 2020 are uncertain about their campus placement offers because of the economic slowdown and because of the lockdown and various other economic jolts that have been suffered to the world economy as a whole because of COVID-19 pandemic. There are chances that various job offers that have been offered to the IIT and IIM graduates will no longer sustain, and that is why there is a lot of concern on the campuses. In the world too, more than 1 million cases have been detected till now, and the death toll has crossed 50,000, which is a huge death toll. The countries such as US, Spain and Britain have seen the highest one-day death counts till date, where US is emerging as the most infected country or the country with most confirmed cases in the world with more than 2.5 lakh cases till date. Spain recorded over 900 deaths for second day in a row, and experts are warning that 1 million case is only a small proportion of the real figure. And the reason that the experts cite for this is that various countries are underreporting their cases, and also because of lack of tests in many places. Also, the World Health Organization has clarified that this disease is primarily transmitted through respiratory droplets and close contacts, and it does not seem to stay long in the air. So it is different from airborne spread. Airborne spread is where the presence of microbes within droplet nuclei can remain in air longer and can be spread over a greater distance, whereas coronavirus disease is not exactly an airborne spread disease. Otherwise it would have been a more difficult situation. 2 days back, the central government declared the domicile policy for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. However, because of criticism from various opposition parties, it has modified that order. Earlier, the Jammu and Kashmir people or the permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir were provided protection only for class 4 jobs in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. But now the government has amended it, and it has reserved all jobs in the Union Territory only for its domiciles. So all jobs means group A, B, C and D. All jobs will now be reserved for the domiciles of J&K. And the domicile policy states that domicile will be that person who has resided in the state of or in the UT of J&K for at least 15 years, or the one who has resided in the state for 7 years plus he has passed 10th or 12th standard from a school or educational institution in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. So this is the domicile policy, and only the domiciles of the state will be provided rights with regard to the property, education, jobs and other state benefits under the Jammu and Kashmir administration. In a latest development, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, in order to fasten the process of clearances to the manufacturers of drugs and medicines meant for treating COVID-19, it has exempted various projects from environment impact assessment. So environment impact assessment means that for any project, be it an infrastructural project or any pharmaceutical project, the government runs an environmental impact assessment to gauge the impact of that particular project on the environment. However, to those bulk drug manufacturers who are manufacturing drugs for treating the COVID-19 pandemic, this environment impact assessment has been exempted till 30th of September this year as an interim measure, so that the clearances can be granted faster and so that those medicines and those drugs can reach the people and in a short span of time. Basically, the rules under the Environmental Protection Act classify projects into three categories. The projects under category A are appraised by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, whereas those projects which are under category B are appraised by the states. However, there is a third category which is known as category B2, and those projects which are classified under category B2 are exempted from environmental impact assessment and public hearings. It is this particular category under which these projects and these bulk drug manufacturers will be placed. So, in the next news, the Australian Prime Minister has urged the World Health Organization and the United Nations to act against China's wet markets. Now, first of all, let's understand what a wet market is. So, wet markets are those markets where various types of wildlife species are kept at a single place. For example, in other countries there are fish markets or chicken markets, but in China there are wet markets. In wet markets, all types of various wild animals are kept in one single market, which increases the chances of spreading of virus from one animal species to another animal species and thereafter to human beings. So due to wet markets, one such market was there in Wuhan, which is widely believed to be the epicenter of COVID-19, and that is why the Australian Prime Minister has urged these two agencies to act against China's wet markets. It is worth considering here that the severe acute respiratory syndrome or SARS outbreak in the year 2003 can also be attributed to one of such wet markets. So a few days back, the wet markets in China have started operating again, and which is a cause of worry for the entire world, and that is why this action is required to be taken against China. The center, acting upon the demands of the states, has released a total of 17,287 crore rupees to states to fight against the COVID-19. And this has been done through two mechanisms. First is the SDRMF mechanism and second is the revenue deficit grant. Let us see what these two grants are. So a total of 11,092 crore has been released towards the State Disaster Response Mitigation Fund. So this State Disaster Response Mitigation Fund is a fund which has been formed under the Disaster Management Act, and since COVID-19 was declared as a notified disaster by the central government last month, that means this fund can now be mobilized to fight against the coronavirus disease. And this fund is primary fund available with the states for responses to the notified disasters. In this particular fund, there are two funding patterns. 75% funding is contributed for general category states and UTs, and 90% funding is contributed by the center for special states, including the Himalayan states and the northeastern states like Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. The second component of grant, that is the revenue deficit grant, is to the tune of more than 6,000 crore rupees, and this has been done in line with the 15th Finance Commission recommendations. And the 15th Finance Commission was headed by Mr. N.K. Singh, which submitted its report in the month of January 2020, and we discussed this report in one of the previous videos, so you can go and check that video. Also, the states have asked the center to relax the fiscal responsibility and budget management target given to the states. So under this particular act, 3% fiscal deficit target has been set for the states. However, the states have demanded that since the economy is going down and the states need to spend more to tackle the onslaught of this virus, this particular 3% criteria should be relaxed and it should be allowed to go up to 4% or even 5%. The Kerala has already demanded that fiscal deficit cap should be increased to 5% of the gross state domestic product. But these demands are yet to be met by the state. So in a positive development, the lockdown has increased the air quality index of the entire country. So the Central Pollution Control Board, which records the air quality index, has said that the PM 2.5 or the particulate matter 2.5 levels, that is considered to be the most dangerous pollutant, has been measured at an all-time low in more than 30 cities of India. Particularly in the national capital region of Delhi, the levels have seen one of the lowest in the recorded history of this particular air quality index. So because of the lockdown, where the transportation industry as well as the commercial industry is not working, that has led to reduction in this particular pollutant. And this is a very good news for environmentalists as well as for people suffering from respiratory infections. So thank you everyone. This has been the news analysis for 4th of April 2020.